Guys for popping on a little later than normal here. And I will say part of what was happening was related even to the phrasing of this question. So originally I was having someone popped into my messenger here recently and was talking about education, different education styles, that kind of thing. And I was originally going to say, is homeschooling for you? But then realized that this is really more of a question, is homeschooling for everyone? So with that, if we've not already talked, hi, my name is Lydia. I am all about empowering women to show up for themselves and to do so unapologetically. And so if this is your first video that you're watching with me, you're probably asking one of two questions. One, if you're about empowering women, then why the heck are you talking about homeschooling? And two, this question of homeschooling being for everyone, how does that relate to this idea? So here's how it relates. So when we're thinking about what homeschooling is, let's just kind of take a step back. I promise you, it's going to affect you as the woman of your household, as the one who's putting things together. Here's how it works. When you consider what homeschooling is homeschooling at its very core is the idea of educating and the idea of training our children so that when they grow up and they become the men and women of the next generation, they have the tools that they need in order to be the best version of themselves. Okay. So before we get into the laws and jurisdictions and state whatever's, before you do any of that, homeschooling at its very base is the practice of educating our children in our own home setting. Okay. Now, homeschooling being for everyone in that case is a definite yes, because whether you realize it or not, you are training your children by what you are doing versus what you're not doing, which for me, I remember in terms of becoming a mom was just kind of oh my gosh, what? Okay. So there is that. The question then becomes, how do we look at homeschooling for your personal family? Okay, what does that look like? What does that entail? So this idea that I send my kids off to school and somebody else is going to educate them because I'm not equipped to do it. I have no earthly idea. I was horrible at math. I was horrible at English, right? All of that. It negates the fact that you were given these children for a reason. They're in your home and they're a part of your family for a reason. So let's not negate that. Let's realize that from a homeschooling standpoint, there are things that you will be able specifically to teach them that nobody else will. Okay. So then that gets to the whole idea of, okay, so I'm sending my kids off to school because I'm working, husband is working, or I could be at home with them, but honestly, that just feels like it's way too much. Okay. I totally get that. And so that's where things get a little bit more dynamic. Okay. So some points to consider in terms of homeschooling is for you and your family. Couple of points. Okay. One is to think about what matters most to you. Okay, what are the core values that define your family? What are the things that you and your spouse are most passionate about? Okay, if it's just you and you're a single mom, you are phenomenal. And for you being the person who is over this household of your kiddos, what is it that matters most to you? What are your core values? Because then that helps you with the second question of what kind of freedoms do you desire within your time, within your schedule, within the way that you do life. Okay. So for us as a family, I knew that the ability to travel, the ability to move in terms of go to visit family or go do an adventure trip or whatever was something that was really important to us. So yes, we could have done the public school route, but we also recognize that there are rules that are in place, at least here for the state that we're in, where we wouldn't have had as much flexibility. Versus if we chose to go in a homeschooling direction, we had a little bit more leverage to work with, right? So those are two key points. The third then becomes, okay, well, if I do somehow entertain this idea of homeschooling my kids, how does that what does that look like? How does that affect me personally, right? Because again, this is all about allowing you to walk in your own gifting and freedom, okay? So here's the thing. I realize that different countries, different states, even sometimes different counties have different rules with regards to what homeschooling looks like. What matters most in terms of this homeschooling process is that you are able to shine, if you will. You are able to express the things that you are gifted in whatever it is that you're doing. And in this case, it's the schooling, the training of your kids. And so when you are thinking about what that looks like, if you're going, you know what, it's already really, it's difficult for me right now. I really do need that space, and I really do need that just time away for me to be able to function and to do what it is that I need to do. And when I do that, I can show up better for my kids. Then do what's best for you. So if that means that they go to the public school, if that means they go to the private school, if that means they go to the dedicated co-op or tutor, whatever that looks like, cool. If for you, you showing up as your best means I feel much better when my children are close. At this stage, I cannot explain it. This is just really what works best. I flourish better and I shine brighter when my children are with me. Then go for it. Find the ways to be able to make that possible. Choose to do the homeschooling piece, and also recognize that's a great thing with regards to homeschooling in many states is that you can connect with other families as well. So you're not just learning in isolation, right? Socialization being an issue as to why not to homeschool is clearly not the issue. Promise. If you meet enough homeschooling families, they have some pretty dynamic schedules and activities, okay? So no matter what it is, whatever that dynamic needs to be, if it's, you know what, I need that distance and that space for a time, do that for you. If it means that I need to have them close by, do that for you. Because what at the end of the day, two things are important. Okay. And then I'm going to wrap it up. Two things are important. Number one, when you feel your best, when you are confident about who you are, how it is that you are showing up, and what means the most to you is what you are doing, your kids feel it. Your kids feel that. And as a result, it shifts the dynamic of what you experience in the home. It totally shifts it. So if you're in that place where you need the space, but you have your kids right on you, they're going to feel that. And you're going, they feel that. Okay. Same way that if you would prefer that your kids are a little bit closer, but they're off, they feel that too. Recognize that that's important. So when you choose to recognize what you need and you're able to show up fully, that shifts the dynamic within the home. The second part to that is that however it is that you choose to walk through and navigate this whole dynamic of how you're training your kids is what you're actually teaching them for how they will train their kids. So if it means that mommy's going to be doing some research to figure some things out to see what's a good fit, then they're going, oh, so that's what grown-ups do when they have questions, because grown-ups don't know everything. They think and they research and they try to figure things out. Okay, cool. Now I know that because I'm seeing it modeled for me. This process that you're going to do is real-time modeling to your kids. And that's pretty awesome stuff. And as a result, right back to what we said about the true definition of homeschooling, you're homeschooling your kids. Congratulations. So, all right, with that, I'm going to hop into comments here real quick. Good stuff. Such a good conversation and points to ponder. I love teaching music to homeschoolers and empower the families to do the other things they do best. I love it. If I'm not mistaken, that is our good friend, Andrea. Hey, Andrea, great to see you. And that is a great thing to keep in mind, is that if it means, for example, you want to have your child to do virtual music lessons, Andrea is a phenomenal person to do that with. If it means that you want to do ballroom lessons, that's available too as a homeschooler. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can create the curriculum base however you desire to do it. And in fact, as a quick note, and you can let me know, you can just message below home in the comments. I'm toying with the idea of helping some families with figuring out what particular homeschool style or homeschool education piece or pieces would be a good fit for them. If that's something that would be of interest to you or someone you know, feel free, of course, to share the video and just comment home below, and I'll be sure to reach out to you and see what might be, again, a good fit for you. All right. So know that you are amazing, and that when you show up fully as yourself, everyone around you is blessed because of it. You are amazing being you. Talk to you later.